Go on.
What do we what do we table
This
today?
statute will make.
Look at the council table.
Hey, no, I don't like this. No.
Well, you can ask the senior counselor for debate.
Debate. Senior counselor, let's do the debate.
Okay, what are we debating?
You're debating the proposition.
Statute number
I think
1.
it's
This is
still
done.
gonna cost 40.
Give
I
me a
can check her
second.
out though.
Would you like me to read to the council the proposition?
Yes.
Would you like me to do your job?
We are dealing with a proposed statute. This is proposed by Zix the First and seconded by Joshua the First. They call it the Voter Registration Act. The statute will make the completion of a voter registration form obligatory for voting members in any church election. This form will be needed to be completed at once and will from then on register a voter to vote in all future elections. The registration form may be filled out anytime prior to an election. During elections, a church member may not register to vote. There will be frequent reminders before, frequency determined by the election committee before elections.
Yo, it's faded.
The statute will have immediate effect.
So basically, it's like when the voting starts, you can't have someone join the church and vote there. You have to do it before.
Yeah,
Yes, that
but
is what
that's what it's
Zix
saying.
says
And it
no,
also
but that is
requires-
what the or wait, let's. All you have to do is click some buttons. It won't require much knowledge or be nearly impossible. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's basically present.
All right.
That makes sense.
Was
So
there
who will
any
make- who will
evidence
make
of
the
voter
quiz?
fraud to
The
begin
statute
with?
doesn't.
Yeah, this
the
seems
statute-
because that you would need to
Yeah.
have that clarified because you could make it later. Like if it could be edited, then it could be made in a way to restrict who can vote. Because you could find a way like to make
like
someone.
you're stating that it, Josh, that it won't, but it will be made by the. Well, okay.
We need to.
Well,
We
like
have to update that in the
Yeah, it's
proposition.
your job to do it.
the
Sorry.
statute doesn't state that.
I mean, it could.
Another thing I noticed is it says it will be held. It will go into effect immediately, but
Yeah, that's.
we're so
Also, I
close.
think it-
We're so close to an election right now. I don't know if.
That's.
Oh, I
going
also
forward
don't
if
like
we're-
the idea of
this
not
will
being able
just
to.
it will restrict people because
Yeah.
there's so little time.
I think we should have. First off,
Well,
if
in
we.
the
If
statute, it doesn't state after the next election. It just says immediately.
Anyway, yeah, it says immediately. Also, Josh, I think the idea of having it not allow people to vote close to an election is weird because what does that mean? Like, when is close to an election?
I think
How close is close enough? Or like, you know what I mean? Because it doesn't say that. It needs like if it's going to say
No,
that, it should say.
it doesn't say close. It says during.
Well, yeah. Okay, so like, well, even then, that's a vague enough term that you could say like three days before an election could be considered
Well,
during the election.
during would entail that the election's actually
24-hour
going on.
period. So like that 24-hour period of voting.
Yeah.
But
That's-
I would have to want that. I would want that to be like written, like it says that explicitly. Like during the during the voting period or something.
You can take their statute proposal, edit it, and propose it.
And then I also
I don't know if they're working on a counter proposal.
when voting starts, so when voting ends during mean they can't.
It's up to
also,
the,
I
it's up to the
think we would-
senior counselor what happens from here.
I think we should also put in some regulations of what can and cannot be on this.
You can simply shoot down the statute, or you can like request a vote.
I think I would have to shoot this one down as it is. I think before we could go forwards with it, it would have to basically put more detail. So explain, put that the election committee makes it, put that like what is like what can they
the courts judge statutory law in terms of the Constitution.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying
Yeah,
I don't
they
think
judge
that,
the
I wouldn't pass
constitutionality
it.
of statutes. They wouldn't judge the.
Yeah,
That
I
would
don't
be up to
want
the
to pass
council
it.
to define.
I think it does need to be revised just a little bit because
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah, just a
specify
little
like
bit.
who
It doesn't
makes it
specify
and
enough.
like who keeps track of it. Like it doesn't specify that part of it.
Well,
Like
also
now
it
it could
needs
be
to
like
specify what
anyone
the
can
election
make it
committee
and
can even put
anything
on
can
it.
be on it.
Exactly.
'Cause if-
Yeah.
And,
if the
and
election
there's
committee
no
changes
there's
over-
no like there's no moderation. It just says it's made
Yeah.
by the election committee. Like,
Because if the election committee were to have people,
that gives the election committee quite a bit of power.
yeah, and that's not good because then you could have what's going on in like Georgia now, where someone loses an
Exactly.
election and they're like, "Uh-oh,
Oh
make it so you
no!
can't vote."
People voted.
Make that not happen.
Get it out of here. The door.
Okay, so, yeah, I think a lot of us are in agreement that it should be revised a
It
little
should be
bit.
revised, and then we should
Yeah.
also, before it goes into effect, I think it would make sense for you guys to make like a quiz and have us look at that too, like before we even pass.
Yeah, that should be a clause within the.
Yeah, like this
And
isn't. This isn't.
any of you can take their proposal and make an amendment to it.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed
Like,
to do that in the
like-
meeting.
Basically,
Okay,
we're
So I've
saying
got to
that
rewrite this.
Yeah.
we still need to
But they
vote
can
on
do
it.
that
Basically,
too. Like anyone can do that. What
I can-
quiz?
let me see
The
that.
thing states that there will be a. They have to fill out a registration form.
So it'd probably be like a
And-
Google form.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
then
bold
Josh
anything
made it
that I'm
sound
editing.
like. Well, Josh, you've made it sound like it's a quiz in a way because you said there are questions that are easy and won't require much knowledge.
I feel like it should just be like your name on the.
What if you're a
Discord.
part of the church
when
and you
you
just
do it.
don't know it because you're an idiot? Like
Exactly.
you've
Well,
heard it
that's why
already.
it shouldn't be
You-
questions about the church. It should basically be sort of like what
What's
we
1
have now,
plus
where you have to
1?
put like
Why
your name
would
and
we need their email for registration?
or
Yeah,
I don't know,
that's
like have
weird.
just have
That's-
something
that's
like
not-
else. I don't
that's
think it
not
should be a
the one.
quiz
That's,
you're gonna have it
that's
at all.
strange.
because a voting quiz would be like the reading test that they did back in the
The
60s.
literacy
Like,
tests.
yeah, the literacy tests.
Old Jim
Which would
Crow.
basically, yeah, well, no, because that's essentially what it would be. It would be a similar to
yeah.
that because it would allow the quiz could contain stuff that if you didn't know, you can't vote, and that's stupid.
That's why that thing from a few weeks ago was struck down. Because
I mean,
it's like
Josh, you
that.
say it's not like the literacy test, but you are not really saying anything
You're not
because
explicitly-
the
it's
statute
gotta be
is not
explicit.
instated, and it gives the full power to the election committee to do whatever they want. The election committee can make it a quiz. There's nothing
Yeah,
that
well-
states that it can't be a
And
quiz.
we already have
It-
voter
it-
registration,
This doesn't define anything.
right?
I
Because
mean-
before you vote, you have to put in before you vote in the Google Forms,
No,
right?
You have yeah. It checks to make sure you're using a Google account and not voting multiple times.
Well, yeah.
Um,
So I think
And
that's
also,
plenty.
I don't really see this as an issue. Like we haven't had
Yeah.
any
Also,
evidence of
I
any
think
voter
that the
fraud
fact
in
that we
recent
have-
elections.
Thinking of something.
I
so
said
let's
that
say,
in the
let's
beginning.
say,
I'm like, do we
Unless
have any
who
evidence of
proposed
voter
it is
fraud?
doing
Hey.
voter fraud themselves. I haven't like.
I
who-
think I also say.
Well, I
that-
mean,
so
Joshua in the
if it's-
past is the only person.
Wait,
who's
can we
really
can we
Who's
let
committed voter
Dustin?
fraud,
Can
yeah.
we let Dustin?
I
Can we
have
let
a
Dustin?
big.
So
Can we
okay,
let
it's
Dustin
kind
talk
of,
for
it's
a
Fair.
kind of
Hey, okay, listen.
Fair.
If you had to vote to register, the election committee can't see who voted in the first place. So I don't
we're
get
not
how you
supposed to be able to see who voted. but
exactly.
the
So how so
registration
how
Right, and
so
if we-
how
and if
how
we
you
put
gonna
the
know?
election
registration on,
committee
then
could
we're
go
gonna
and
see
look
it.
at the code and figure
Yeah.
out how someone voted.
I think it would make. I think that what we have now is
We
Work.
can't
Yeah.
protect their anonymity.
Yeah, because there's no
And,
way to
anonymity.
tell if somebody
Anonymity-
took the
and
voter
see anonymity.
registration or not
Charles
without.
actually used registration
protecting the
before.
right.
We do.
We
We
have
literally
used
have
registration before,
now.
but we stopped using it.
Yeah, we
What is
stopped.
Hey, Veda.
ESDP.
I did not mean to enter.
No,
Alright,
you
so
can
yeah,
join here.
it's basically.
I mean, actually,
I
it's
was.
up to
Hey,
the-
can I say something?
Yeah,
It
of
doesn't
course.
making voter registration just make another reason to frame someone for voter fraud?
Yes.
Because isn't that
Yeah.
the only thing it does? It doesn't really restrict people that aren't supposed to be voting. It's just saying if you didn't write down your name, you had a fraudulent vote. So really, this isn't
Yeah.
like this is just making
It's
another
trying
reason
restrict
to
our-
investigate.
the voters
But
even
we also
more.
Yeah.
have. My thing is we have voter registration that basically does like that every time you open Google Forms.
I
You
think
put your
basically,
username, your Gmail account in, and then it lets you
like-
vote, and it still keeps it anonymous. And I think that's works enough because that way you can
Yeah.
only vote once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
And also,
never,
like,
it's never
Because
a
if
bad
people
thing.
could make multiple Google accounts and then use those to vote multiple times, why couldn't they just make multiple Discord accounts or multiple other things and then
Mhm.
register multiple times?
Very true.
Like it wouldn't be
That
significantly
is how
harder
someone would go and commit voter fraud. What you just
Yeah.
did, if they make
Well-
multiple Google
Yeah,
accounts.
it still makes it the same like easy way to commit.
Yeah,
voter
it would be
fraud.
the
It
same
wouldn't
thing. You
be
just also
any
have to-
more difficult. They would
Yeah,
just
you would just
Yeah.
now have
fill
to
out
have a
the
Discord
form with
account.
that different Google account,
Yeah,
and that would be exactly the same difficulty.
yeah. It's basically
People wouldn't be
pointless.
inclined. They aren't
Oh my
inclined now.
god.
Why would they want to do it now?
No, it's hard to make a bunch of Google accounts, but Joshua, you did it.
Yeah, and
You
in
made
order
like
to make-
20 Google accounts.
In order to
Or
make a-
no, it was his
another
little
Gmail.
sister who did it.
Okay, whatever. Your little
Ah.
sister. Look, if your little sister can make
Oh my
45 Google
God.
accounts, then a full-grown adult could figure. I mean, I'm technically an adult. Could figure out a way to
Mm.
make a second Discord account.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay, well-
don't you need a Gmail and like a Discord account? So it's like same
It's
thing.
the same thing. It's the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's the same thing.
Okay, why don't we bring this up to the preposition table? Because it says that-
I
I-
I'm oh my god. I'm saying that okay, Josh, we're not saying that it's a no. We're saying that it's a not yet. It needs some revising, or it could I don't know, but like obviously it's never a bad thing to have things to protect against voter fraud, but the thing is right now as the church is right now, we have no evidence of voter fraud.
You
I see
can't,
no reason
you
to
can't
enact
stop
this.
it from being voted on at this point. You have to vote on it. 'cause
I
it's
know,
second.
I know,
think we should-
I know.
I think right now we
have
should
to
vote
vote on
nay.
it. But I'm
Mm.
telling him that if it is a no, it's not a hard no, it's a not yet. But we do need to vote on it though.
I think. Can we vote on it now?
It's up to the senior counselor.
Yes. I vote nay because I believe it could have some revisions.
Josh
Um,
also
Voted
nay.
against this stuff.
He votes nay to his own piece of legislation.
Nay.
Okay.
She
Ne-
didn't call your name
June?
yet, Dustin.
No, I
God.
don't know how this works. Okay,
June.
not my
June.
fault.
Nay.
Okay. Jackson the second.
Nay.
Dustin.
Nay.
Zix?
Alright. He voted nay as well.
Okay.
0, 6.
Alright. Or
Zits.
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 I keep forgetting. Okay, listen, it's not pronounced how it's spelled.
10, 20, 30. Sorry. Sorry.
We did it. We did
I
a
will
council.
get there.
Okay, so was that
I'll
it?
get there
That
eventually.
That
We
was-
counseled.
We need to adjourn the meeting though.
Okay, meeting adjourned.